So it's been yet another week, and here on this channel, that means one thing and one thing only. Every weekend I post an episode of this series we do called Your Take Not Mine, where I turn to you, the viewers, to give me your hottest NBA takes of the week based on what's going on at the time, and I then choose my favorite submissions and discuss them in a video. This week, there has been even more enticing matchups going down between top teams, a lot more rumors of potential moves and trades have come about, and a lot of intriguing storylines are there to follow, so of course, we have plenty to discuss. In order to submit your takes, I make a community post on either the day of or the day before the video, similar to the one that you see on your screen now, so if you want a chance to be featured in a future episode, be sure to stay on the lookout for that. Before we start though, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. As the new NBA season continues on, PrizePicks is the best and easiest way to play daily fantasy to stay engaged on all of the excitement. All you have to do is pick between 2 to 6 players and their over or under on their projections, and you can win up to 20 times your original entry. Choose between points, rebounds, assists, 3-pointers made, fantasy points, and more, plus you can even make mixed sports entries, so if you happen to be a fan of football, baseball, soccer, or anything else, PrizePicks has you covered. When you play at PrizePicks, you're also not competing against anyone else, it's simply you versus the projections available. As for the picks that I'm looking at making for tonight's slate of games, I'm thinking of going with Julius Randle to score under 31.5 points, Jeremy Sohan to grab over 5.5 rebounds, and Zach LaVine to make over 2.5 threes. By going down to the link in the description of this video and using promo code REFERENCE when you sign up, you also get a deposit match bonus of up to $100. Once again, thank you to PrizePicks for sponsoring today's video. Now let's get back to the topic at hand. The first take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Rocket, and he says that this new and improved Nets team are ready to prove that they are the favorites to win the title, fulfilling the expectations that came upon them when they first teamed up. The 10 years of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn has been filled with far more drama off the court than it has with success on the court, and going into this season, it was well understood that this could possibly have been their last chance to make things right. Yet, when the season started off with even more drama surrounding Kyrie Irving and trade rumors swirling most, admittedly myself included, thought that it was about to be the beginning of the end for them. However, ever since Kyrie Irving has returned to the team, they have been strictly business, and handling their business is exactly what they've been doing. From the point Kyrie Irving was reinstated to now, the Nets have won 16 of 19 games they've played, including a 10-game winning streak that they're currently still on, with wins over teams like the Bucks, Cavaliers, and Grizzlies coming in this span. If any team has done a complete 180 from the beginning of the season to now, it's them, because they were on the brink of rock bottom at one point, and now they're the hottest team in the NBA. They've made it all the way up to 3rd place in the Eastern Conference standings, and are right behind the Bucks and Celtics, not out of the race for 1st place by any stretch. So, turning it back to the original take, are they the title favorites after everything that I just discussed? I'm not sure if I would go that far, but if you're still doubting their ability to contend, you're just flat out mistaken. The Celtics are the defending Eastern Conference champions and are still in 1st place, so you can't put anyone over them right now, but Durant is back in the MVP conversation, Irving is back fully focused on basketball, dominating, Ben Simmons has been steadily getting back to his prior Depoy-esque defensive ways and is slowly coming along on the offensive end, and ever since firing Coach Steve Nash, replacement Coach Vaughn has done a much better job finding rotations that work well together. They do still have issues with their front court depth, but with how well they're playing in other areas, they can easily overcome it. The next take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Wang, and he says that the Bucks have become a bit overrated because they're still viewed as one of the favorites, despite, in his opinion, several other Eastern Conference teams being better equipped for a deep run. Well, to start off, the Bucks are still in second place in the East standings, so it's not like people are giving them the benefit of the doubt despite their lack of production, because the fact is that they still have been performing like a top team in the league. In that regard, I think it's ridiculous to call them overrated. Giannis Antetokounmpo is still producing at an absolutely elite level on both ends of the floor, and as long as he's doing so, they will always have a chance to go all the way, and they've earned that belief by taking home one title already. However, with all of that being said, there is a tiny shred of truth in this particular take, just because they are not head and shoulders above other contenders this season, and this particular Bucks team is probably a tiny bit worse than prior Bucks teams of the last few years. For one, the team's offense has been struggling this year, ranked in the bottom third of the NBA, sitting at 22nd best out of 30, and it could have something to do with Chris Middleton's knee injury, forcing him to miss a ton of time and holding him back from producing at the level that we're used to seeing him produce at prior to it. The fact of the matter is that the Bucks do need Middleton at the top of his game if they want to make a run through the Eastern Conference playoffs this year, because as I just discussed, the Nets are really starting to click and have the star power to overwhelm them, as we saw in a game between the two teams just a few days ago. The Celtics haven't missed a beat since their run last year, and even teams like the 76ers and Cavaliers have shown they too have the star power to make noise around them. And finally, the last take we'll be discussing today comes to us from Ruben, and he says that even though Luka Doncic is pretty much putting up video game numbers at this point, his style of play won't translate to meaningful team success. I chose this take to discuss today, obviously because Luka has been going absolutely nuclear this week on the court, making history and producing at an unheard of level, but I also chose it because it's the kind of narrative that has been pushed for years and has always annoyed me. The player Luka Doncic gets compared to the most is James Harden because of this, and the same exact things were said about James Harden when he was in his prime, which was a narrative that I was also vehemently against. James Harden revolutionized this style of play and actually proved that it can work at the highest level, but nobody wants to give him the credit for it because he was never able to take home a title. What people don't discuss is that when Harden actually had a proper cast of talent around him, he led the biggest threats to the Golden State Warriors at their peak, who many were calling the greatest team ever assembled, and in 2018, they would have eliminated that Warriors team if Chris Paul didn't get injured, so saying that style of play doesn't win games is just ridiculous. Luka Doncic now finds himself in the same kind of conversations, and the issue is clearly not Luka Doncic. It's the fact that he's never been able to play with a legitimate co-star or enough depth to go all the way yet, and the fact that he led his Mavericks team all the way to the conference finals last year shows that he himself is already good enough to get them pretty far. The real issue is that the Mavericks front office are slacking on making good, aggressive moves. Blaming Luka Doncic is just hating at this point. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below what you think about the takes we discussed. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.